is C. Meagan Michael. I am a seer, a seeker, a visionary, and a medium. Every Sunday, I present to you spiritual thought leaders from around our world and beyond. That's my cat Trixie, who's trying to grab my hand every time I move it right now, guys. So you know Trixie. And today I'm really excited because I'm working on this short series that Spirit inspired me to create called Coming Up Next. What's going to happen in 2021? So Spirit inspired me to invite some of the world's best channelers and transmediums, and Trixie's tail is in my face right now. I'm sorry. There you go. Gotta go there. I love you, honey. All right. And anyways, I'm really super excited. A lot of you guys have requested Paul. This is Paul, and I hope I pronounced your name correctly, even though you just told me Wyrostek.
Well done.
Wyrostek. Okay.
Well done.
And Paul is a spiritual teacher, a channeler of healing. He has an amazing YouTube channel. I'll pop that in the comments as well. Definitely like and subscribe to his channel and mine as well. And
That's
please
right.
now join me in welcoming Paul.
Thank you, Meagan. It's awesome to be here.
You're welcome. Oh, I'm so excited. I love your YouTube channel. I love your videos. I don't remember which one it was I was watching, but as soon as I saw it, I'm like, you know, like, I don't know if you know, but you probably know because you have your own, we all have our own version of when Spirit says this person.
That's right.
I zoned in. I'm like, whoa, this man's going to be on my show.
It's like you said, it's a knowing, isn't it?
It
and
is.
once you know, and once you can trust that knowing, and as a home foundation, then you got it. All knowings after that fit right in.
Absolutely. I'm just looking for our live stream just to make sure we're live, and I mean I'll be happy to sit and chat with you, but I think we're supposed to be. Let me just make sure we're actually live.
That's right.
I'm not seeing us. We may have to do the intro again.
That's okay. It says live where I'm at with the red light.
Yeah, it says live with me too, but I don't. Oh, wait. Is it that? Make sure we're live. Oh, there we are. Okay.
Sweet.
All right. So I see us on YouTube, and I will definitely be sharing that link. I don't know why I don't see us in the group as well yet, but I'll just post this link. Normally, it also shares to my Facebook group. It's supposed to be there. Well, here, I'll just pop this in there. So let me start. Sorry. Let me just, tech stuff. Let me start off by asking you your story. So when did you become the spiritual teacher and the channeler of healing? Did this begin in childhood, or bring us up to speed, please?
Yeah, it's always been there. You know, everything from spirits to shadows.
Okay.
Jesus was a big thing. I would see pictures of him, and it's like his face was like sticking onto the wall, and it was really creepy, like walking by him, going to the bathroom at 5 years old. So when I was young, I was like, okay, well, Jesus is just like all the other shadows in the faces that I'm seeing. So it took, I've always been seeing energy all the time, as long as I can remember, but it took years and years of going down dark paths, a lot of traumas, a lot of deep darkness and dark roads, and it took, basically like a phoenix rising out of the ashes experience to find the light. And that's when I found my first teachers, or they found me, really, right? When we're ready, that's when it comes in. And that's when I started having my healing sessions, which I learned that there's such a thing as healing sessions, and other teachers that really saw something in me, and that's what I needed. I needed somebody to see me. Hello, Stephanie. Love to you. To see me and say, "There's something there." Right. And that was a huge moment in my life. And then healing sessions with my other first teacher, Grace, to where I started releasing these traumas, started releasing these attachments. And after a process of over 3 years,
Okay.
I realized why my abilities were the way they were, It wasn't just some random thing that you have to deal with, that you have to cope with. It was, okay, now that we're clearing off the traumas, we're bringing in healing to all the different things that I experienced. It's, well, the reason why you experienced all that you experience is because you're this very powerful channeler of healing. So it was the remembrance, or the rediscovery of my magnificence, and then getting to, and then you have to completely shift from the path of the ego into the path of the higher self. And not everybody's willing to do that, but I was willing to do that. And it's been go time ever since. So, I started putting myself out there, and, when you're living your truth and when you're on your path, everything just works out. It just takes over, and your path comes to you, and all of a sudden I blink my eyes and it's been like 15 years and
Wow.
here I am. So
Wow, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Do you feel, Paul, that it's common for people to go through trauma before they, like you? Okay, what I'm trying to ask, and let me rephrase it, is that do you believe that we plan before we come here to go through traumas and such, so that we have a deeper understanding and can serve better? Or do you have another perspective on this?
yeah, I totally agree. There's from my experience, is the more traumas and the worse the traumas, the brighter the light. The brighter the light worker, the more powerful of a light worker. So yes, it's to experience that, but there is a reality here that there is a lot of darkness that's been on this planet that has surfaced, that when darkness sees light, they don't want us to become the powerful being that we are. So the darkness will try to steer us away from our own light, using the victimization and the traumas to kind of lure us away from light. And so yeah, there's a lot of things that happen, but it's for our own growth. We came here to walk through the path, right?
Right.
So there's nobody that I know of that just magically appears on their path, and they've just had this great life, and now they just, they're doing their spiritual light work. So it's kind of like the phoenix rising out of the ashes, and we have to be the way showers too, because how do you connect to somebody that's gone through all the different traumas and blame, shame, and guilt and attachments if you haven't experienced it yourself? People are very intuitive, light workers, right? Empaths. So, and light is always attracted to light. So there's a knowing there. So we also have to go through that, because we have to, when you grow up in the forest and you found the way out, right? And then you go back and you reach behind you and you come back in the forest, because now you're lit up. And then now you can grab the hand of somebody that's still in the dark and say, hey, I know the way out of here. Right?
Yes.
I lived in this shit too. So I know how to get you out of here. So that's a few reasons right there that, yeah, we go through that.
I love that. And by the way, I did find us on Facebook now as well, so everything's
Cool.
yeah. Wow. Really well said. Well said. So I want to talk about you, and find out more about you and what it is that you do, and then I also want to talk about 2021. But let's start with you, and let's everybody, because I know you've got a beautiful audience on YouTube and Facebook, and I know a lot of my own group members and viewers are really passionate about your work as well. So what is this so passionate about? Share with us some stuff about you and what you're doing.
Well, spiritual teacher, channeler of healing. The reason why that channeler of healing is after the spiritual teacher, because the teaching is always been the number one. The teaching has been the most drive. It's the channeling this information that when I was a kid, I didn't know where it was coming from. I would just start. I didn't, I never had to learn how to channel. I just had to learn when I was channeling. See, I didn't know the difference. And when I was a kid, and I just started talking and I couldn't shut up. Once I started talking about God and I started talking, a lot of people didn't like it. They didn't understand it. I was the weird kid. And then I realized, when hindsight, I could look back and it was just this knowledge. When I tap in, which is just a shifting of consciousness or a shifting of perception, a shifting of awareness. It was just this truth would come out. And, it took years and years to be able to look back and go, oh, I was channeling. That's what that was. So, and I can look into people and I can see deep into their situation. So the teaching is to be able to see into a situation and really find the root. And the channeler of healing is because that, as I was going through my path where I was getting healing coming in, when there was angels and masters coming around, and I can see, I'm in my healing sessions and I can see these energies, and I'm seeing shadows and I'm feeling these shadows being released from me, with my third eye and with my eyes open. So now and then, it dawned on me that I can do the same thing for other people. And that's where it was, oh, okay. And now after all these years of doing this, I realized that and this is literally 98.5% of all of my clients that I've ever experienced are all empaths, light workers, mediums, channelers, whatever you want to call us. And then and then it goes back to one of my teachers saying, not only are you a channeler of healing, but you're a healer of healers. And I was like, all right, come on now. I can handle the spirits and the shadows and the things moving across the room. That's what I grew up. But to process that, that's why I was seeing Jesus's face when I was a kid. And Archangel Michael, this 40-foot half see-through being that saved my life a few times. That's how I met Archangel Michael. That's not the typical way you want to meet an archangel. You know what I mean? You kind of want him to come in on a rainbow or a unicorn and it be, this cool experience. But you put this stuff together and it's like, so now I have to process that. Okay, now I have a team, right? Okay. And then it turns out after all these years later, well, I guess I am a healer of healers because this is apparently what I do. It showed itself. But the teaching aspect, I think, is the biggest passion of it, because when you can just hit some spot with somebody with truth and it resonates with them, sometimes that's all they need, and they can heal years of trauma just by having that aha moment.
Wow. I just had one right now as you were saying that. Just by saying that, I have clarity on what it is that I'm, because my path is changing a little bit, because I'm evolving. We're all evolving,
Constantly.
Have you been feeling, I still want to talk about you, but I also want to talk about this. So we're going to go here because we're where we are. So recently I've been feeling like Spirit gave me the word cocooning and evolving. And I haven't been putting out a lot of content, just my Sunday live streams. And I used to go live often, but I was evolving and changing. And now I'm very drawn. Now I'm working on a course in my book. And I feel like any minute I'm going to just start posting on YouTube on a daily basis. And I've got all these things to teach. And I guess that was what I didn't have the clarity on before, because I never considered myself a teacher. And yet every time I'm going live, people are saying, oh, you're a great teacher. I'm like, I'm a what?
Right.
So did you always know? Did you always know that you were this, that you were a teacher? Was that like you were born thinking, oh, I'm going to teach, or it just evolved and happened to you?
I always knew it, because it was, anytime the subject was brought up, it was like, a passion is kind of a weak word, even though that's a powerful word.
Yes.
It didn't cut it. There's something I don't have words for it. The human word, it isn't enough, but there's just something that's there. That's just, this is what I am, So it was always there, but it got squashed down by unawakened people, trauma, tragedies, depression, hurt, all this stuff. And when you fall to such low level into darkness, that light disappears, right? And it was gone for a long time. Even though I always kept it on a shelf, a little spark was on a shelf. And I think that's what got me through all the darkness and the dark paths I was on. And then, it reignited. So I did always know, but it was kind of like, well, love and light hurt. It caused that pain. When I opened myself up, bad things happened, and one of them that I've shared other times is that really sticks out is when I was channeling, and I didn't realize it, to a friend, and we're talking 12 years old, and he was a neighbor who was an atheist, and I just started talking about why God is real, why to not be an atheist, right? Well, long story short, he grabbed me and tried to drown me. And that's when I met Archangel Michael. So I was taught at an early age
to be quiet or something.
Don't talk about that.
Talk about that.
I'm an intelligent kid. Don't do that again. Silence me, type of thing. Yeah. So
I understand. I do. Wow. So, but you know what? Thanks to, everything that we've been through, everything you've been through in your life, you are here today to be teaching us. So let's talk about, okay, so what, have you experienced anything in this new energy, like the cocooning that I've been going through? And I know some other people, like in fact, Spirit even told me about one of my clients, but I think it was the same for myself and several others at least, where like they show me the inside of, luckily they didn't show me graphically, but they expressed to me the inside of a caterpillar, of the cocoon, the chrysalis, before it becomes a butterfly, and it's just like mush. I guess that's how I understand it. I'm not a biologist, but so yeah, it becomes mush or something, right? And then it comes out as a butterfly. So I've been feeling like it's very mushy lately. A lot of people are going through that stage and ready to, have you experienced that with yourself or anybody that you teach or?
Yeah, I love that analogy. I've used that in the past too, because it's like and I've explained too recently, it's kind of like we're going through the birth canal right now into a new rebirth. So it's kind of like, anybody that's actually seen childbirth from like the man's perspective is different from the woman's perspective. And it's kind of like the mush stage, and you're like, this is beautiful, right? This is like violent. But, if you could imagine what's going on inside that cocoon,
right?
That butterfly is not in a spa. That butterfly is not in a salt tank or a sauna. That's like, if you want to talk about complete transformation right there, right? That is death.
Yeah.
Right? And if you think about it too, when that's in the mush stage, what's keeping that thing going? There's a soul in there. There's light in there. There's something in there that's not physical. Nice. Right?
Yes.
That moves through. So that's when we focus on our soul, when we focus on our higher self, that's what we need to hold the anchor of our light to during our darkness, during our transition that I think everybody in some form, whether they're awake or not, everybody's going through it, that mush stage, that metamorphosis. And it's like, that's why focusing on higher self, learning about higher self, learning about healing, becoming awake. Or once we become awake, we don't really know about being awake until something happens and we've awoken. And then we're like, okay, I call it like, that's when the egg cracks. And that it's like, okay, I never believed in this stuff before, but I'm seeing colors I've never seen before. And that's when somebody's like first awake. So when you first become awake and you're aware you're awake, that's where, okay, learn about higher self, and that's where the thirst comes in, right? That's where the passion comes in, to where it's like, I want more information. And when you and I grew up, there was no World Wide Web.
No.
There was no cell phones. There was no beepers.
Okay.
5 books at the public library from the 60s and 70s that had to do with spirituality and seances, right? So it was almost impossible to get your thirst quenched back then, you know?
Mine with a lot of with like Star Trek and
Yeah,
Wrinkle in Time with the Tesseract. I mean, that's why I was. And it's funny. I look back and I'm like, no wonder I like the Dream of Jeannie and Bewitched and all these mystical things. Everything I was drawn to was
true.
was right.
Yep.
So you're right. There wasn't a lot of information. Certainly not about the true nature of reality. I did have the benefit that my mother liked astrology. She was interested in just basic sun signs.
That's
but she
cool.
was interested, so she was always talking about it and had books all over the house. Actually, one time, I don't think I ever mentioned this on camera. One time she invited a friend over and they did a Ouija board.
See,
Yeah.
so that's a good point. So even though I said we didn't have all this stuff,
Right.
we had everything we needed. Like I say, Star Wars. Star Wars was the biggest channel. You don't want to talk about the George Lucas, the guy who wrote Star Wars. He's one of the biggest channelers on the planet and doesn't even know it.
Wow, I never thought of it that way.
It was teaching mega millions of people that there's a light side, there's a dark side. The dark side wants to draw you in. You have to let go of your anger. You have to choose light. All this stuff. I Dream of Jeannie, the Star Trek, and all that, right? Beam me up, Scotty. I mean, this shit's almost real right now.
I know.
So it's like we're living in the coolest friggin' time anybody can possibly live in right now, I think
so too. I do. I totally agree with you. Thank you for that. Let me say, I haven't seen if anybody's commenting. I don't know why I'm not able to see any comments tonight. I apologize, guys. I want to say hello. We love you. You're awesome. I'm so glad you're here. And I'm not able to see a single comment. So.
I'm just seeing a few Facebook users.
Oh, good. Okay. I'm not seeing
it. Hi from Wales. I'm in Wales right now, so hello. Hi from Staten Island. Somebody can't share. We're getting an absolutely. And I read ghost story books like crazy. So blessings to everybody that's on this right now and that will watch this after we share this later or on YouTube.
Absolutely. So let me ask you, if I may, about 2021. And, okay, I don't know if this is going to be... Did you by any chance see the nativities? I know this is going to sound weird, but did you by all the stuff we talk about, right? Did you by any chance see the nativity scene that's in front of what's called the Vatican right now?
No, what's going on there?
I literally just saw, what's her name? Gigi Young on YouTube talking about that this morning. There's like a spaceman. There's with a space helmet in you have to see it. I was going to ask you if you were familiar with what's going on, or okay, North Dakota. Now I see a couple of things. Hello.
Right.
But I'm just wondering, what do you feel is I mean, if you feel anything specifically about that would be interesting.
Well, that's also interesting because I mean this whole monolith thing that's going on around the world.
Can you talk?
What it is it is getting people's to dip their toe in the water. So it's all these little things that are surfacing just to get us into the frequency or the unawakened people.
Yes.
Just a little taste of it, because there is a movement that's coming, and there is going to be, and that's part of what I predict for 2021 is going to be a lot more alien activity, extraterrestrial activity, but more of the, not just the fifth dimensional beings like Pleiadians, Arcturians, Galactic Federation of Light, all that, because they are in fifth dimensional ships. Then mostly just seen by people that are open into the fifth dimension. So we can see different colors in the sky. We'll get visits from them telepathically, in meditation or in the half sleep type of stage. I've been on ships and the experience I have is ridiculous with that. So I know that's coming in. So all these things are like little precursors to kind of get everybody to get used to this, so that to say this, in a blunt way, kind of like, so when the ships start appearing out of the sky, people aren't going to, it's not going to be such a shock to them.
It's conditioning. I understand exactly what you're saying. That's the feeling that I had about this. I love that you're totally validating what I felt, which is that that's exactly what it is. Like, I mean, I know like this has happened in the world with other things as well, but it's a way of, okay, for example, with marketing, if somebody sees the same thing all the time, it becomes invisible to them. That's
Right.
why commercials change and ads change, right? So they're getting they're conditioning. That's what they're doing. They're conditioning the human race to see these things that are outside their normal realm of thinking, right? Or right in their normal thought paradigm. And then when you're right, you're just what you're saying, I totally resonate with. Do you guys feel this? Are you guys feeling this? Because then when they do appear, it's not going to be like, oh my God, they're on my house, go on, shoot them. It's not. They're not
Right.
that way.
Right. And this has been going on behind the scenes for decades now. So anybody that even remotely feels like they have some sort of extraterrestrial connection, that they have some sort of, they find themselves just looking up at the sky all the time. Is that a star? Things like that.
Yeah.
Boom. You have an extraterrestrial connection. You basically have family members of light that are friggin' ETs, right? To boil it all down quick. So what happens is in your DNA, you have that frequency transmitting from you. So just by being on the earth, if you never speak of aliens, because when you first did, when you were a child, you got made fun of it, so you learned to keep your mouth shut. You are already transmitting that frequency to the world around you, preparing people for this movement.
I was watching Lost in. I'm 55. I'm older than you for sure. I used to watch Lost in Space. I don't know if you remember that show. Or My Favorite Martian. That was in black and white. That was more like in my brother's.
Black and white, yeah.
Black and white. My Favorite Martian. It was quite good. And Mr. Ed, of course, the talking horse, because animals do communicate all the time. My gosh, I feel what you're saying. I feel exactly what you're saying.
When you experience this stuff at a young age and you don't have many people to share it with, a couple instances I'd like to share. And this was, I think, was my first one. We're at a drive-in. I don't know if people know what drive-ins. It's like nowadays you drive your car into a parking lot and you get this microphone that clicks onto your window and you watch a movie from your car. So your car is like your couch, right? So me and my friend were like 10 years old and we're watching this movie. I think it was like Christine or something, some horror movie like that, right? And we're both like all into aviation at the time. And we're watching this light in the sky. And both of us at the same time lift our attention from the movie screen and we're focused on this, what looks to be a star moving. And then it comes to a stop and we're both like, what is up with that? And then all of a sudden the star stops and then it goes pew, as fast as you can imagine. And so we were smart enough to know this isn't a Harrier jet. Like nothing we already knew this. But here's what astonished me was his attention. He looks at me, he laughs, and his attention goes right back to the movie.
Oh, wow.
And that's what separated. And in the whole rest of the night, I was like,
yeah,
because I knew something, right?
Yeah.
And then there was many other experiences, but at 16, I'm driving down this really dark road that I drove down all the time. And this light came out of the sky that was brighter than the sun. I've been on this road. There's no street lights. It's pitch black in the woods. I've been down this road when it's sunny out. The forest was so dense, it's still shadows, even when the sun was out. But I'm seeing in the wilderness brighter than ever before.
Wow.
20 years later, I randomly meet these people. I happen to show up at this cookout, and my attention, just like that day that I saw that light in the sky, I hear this guy in a circle of people way off to the side, and he's talking. And all of a sudden, it was like tunnel vision. That's all I can hear. And he's telling me about this road and this intersection that he drove down last year. And when he parked there, right at that particular light, and I already knew he's going to say exactly what I saw. Come on. And he saw this light come out of the sky. So it's things like that
Wow.
you're like, come on now. So those were those when that's kind of like the when the little things like that, it's like baking a cake, layers, the layer builds and the layer builds and the layer builds. And then it, you want it to happen. You just want that cake, but no, it takes decades. You get one little flicker a year, and then, you know, and then finally it finally happens. And I think that's what a lot of us are going through right now. This whole 2021 thing, to where age of Aquarius, the great solar flash, this Jupiter Saturn conjunction, and everything going on. We want something like this. We want to see the ships coming out. We want something big going on. This is the biggest thing we've ever experienced, and I'll get into that a little bit.
Hmm.
A lot of people think this is going to be like 2000, I don't know, whatever the last,
Oh,
you
like
know,
2012 or something like
yeah,
that.
2012 thing where we're all waiting for something big to happen, or the world's supposed to end, and we're all expecting this massive shift inside and this great awakening, and then it's kind of like, you know,
Hmm.
crickets in a way. A lot
Right.
of people did experience a lot, but it will be like that for some people, because there's millions of people that are waking up right now on the planet.
Hmm.
Massive millions amount of people that are waking up, brand new waking up. So we're talking babies, right? Um, and so what they may experience may just be they're just waking up. They're just seeing the first different color flashes out of the corner of their eye. Maybe little to them, but it's the biggest awakening the biggest thing biggest shift they've ever experienced in their life, right? So each of us, even though this isn't just going to be tomorrow night, we're going to snap our fingers, and to a lot of people, yeah, we're going to feel something amazing. I've been feeling it. My twin flame's been feeling it. Um, but this is continuing for weeks before, and it's going to be continuing for weeks and months, even years after. I feel that the actual galactic energy, that there will actually be this tangible, if you will, galactic energy will be around between 2024 and 2026. So it'll be continuing. It'll be from now until then, magnificent transitions happening. But when, before we started tonight, the words accelerated ascension came to
Ooh,
my mind. And I think that's what is a big part of 2021.
yes. Yes, that's so powerful. Yeah, I made myself a note. Did you say that you were on a ship and then you like never mentioned that again?
I've been home, and it's a horrific experience, and I'll tell you why it's horrific.
I,
Because I was coming out of sleep. I
okay.
was aware I was awake, and then I remember being lifted out of my body. I remember feeling the different temperatures of the layers of the atmosphere. I was aware that there was these two big beings under each side of me. I show up under this ship, which was probably the size of Texas. It was absolutely gigantic. I remembered it. As soon as we went up into the ship, I saw my two best friends. They were there before me. Instantly, I knew, I think they're gonna die before me, because they're already there. They're already like back home. Up in the ship was this acclimation. I called it this acclimation chamber, which is huge. It's basically like a tropical. So there's huge plants, there's leaves, it's kind of like to get you to acclimate easier from Earth back to mothership, if you will. And then these two beings took me down these miles of hallways at about hundreds miles an hour. So it was like left, right, left, straight, left, right, left, do, 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 do. And they have me up under my arms, and my legs are kicking, and I'm kicking because I know this isn't a dream. And I'm like, this is it. This is everything I've been wishing to happen, and it's happening. Here it is. And I mean, we're talking euphoric. And I'm saying to myself, you got to remember this. You got to remember this, remember that, remember that. And then I thought to myself, you don't have to say that because I knew you're not going to forget this. And then I get put in this little tiny room, and these huge, big beings dipped their faces in, just showed themselves a little bit. And I'm kicking. I had a sweater on, kind of like the sweater my other half just got for me the other day. I wonder what this means. And I knew my feet are tapping, and I'm like, I'm about to see something. Something big's about to happen. And I'm hearing this chanting way in the distance, and it's getting louder through the wall. And then I realize they're chanting my name, Paul, Paul, Paul. The wall melts away, and there's like hundreds of thousands of beings that are all chanting my name. So instantly, I start falling back through the atmosphere, and I started bawling my eyes out. And it is the worst sadness you can ever imagine in your entire life. And I was screaming, no, I want to go home. I want to go home. And of course, I hear telepathically, you are going home. And I woke up sitting up on the side of my bed, bawling my eyes out. And I'm like, you knew what I meant when I said I want to go home, right? But they're like, this is your home now. So that's what I mean, that it was one of the horrific, worst experiences of my life, because once you get a taste of that light, right, then yeah, it's hard to forget, right? And then of course, this is when I was having all my healing sessions. So I went to my teacher at the time, and I'm like, I was all into music. I was a lead singer in heavy metal bands and all that for 6 years. So I thought this was confirmation that I'm going to be, my dream's going to come true as this vocalist, right? And my teacher has this look on her face, and I'm like, oh, shit, And she's like, sorry, it's not music. And that's when I realized that's my support team, and it's because I'm a channeler. It's the spiritual path. That's the true path. So that part of me had to die. That whole dream, that whole, vision of what I projected myself to be. And it had to, I had to be at that mush point, of the caterpillar becoming the butterfly, and then let that part die and kind of become, what I am. But that's one of many experiences that I've had with extraterrestrials. And now, it's what I was getting at earlier too. That was the fifth dimensional beings, okay? That, and it may sound like a crazy story, but when you're tapped into ascended masters, and you're tapped into angels, and you're tapped into Galactic Federation of Light, that's like a normal Sunday evening. You know what I mean? It's like no big deal. But to other people, they're like, that dude's weird, man. He saw aliens. He's talking about aliens, But I've also seen a lot of negative aliens, extraterrestrials. Some of them are called reptilians, right? A lot of them they're the ones that have kind of created this third 3D matrix that most unawakened people are trapped in. It's a matrix. It's a program of lack that is self-destroying. It's programmed to self-destroy it, to take itself out. And that's why all of this shift of light, that's why this whole shift of third dimension to the fifth dimension has been taking place for decades, is to stop that program, that manipulation. So there's many different, just like everything else, right? Just like there's dark energies, there's light energies. That goes, through the whole spectrum of energies. So I think that a lot of
darker beings. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But did you work with them? I don't know what, like the darker beings at any point in your experience or you just were aware of them?
The only part of the darker beings was through many of my healing sessions that I had. I had a healing session every 2 weeks for 3 years, because of what I experienced during my first healing session was so life-changing. I was hooked. So one of what I learned is that these beings can kind of like manipulate our free will and free choice, and they can kind of put blocks between our crown chakra and our higher self, so that it can put you in a state of feeling disconnected from source, disconnected from light. And once these energies were removed from me, what I experienced was a connection I never felt before. And when you experience this stuff firsthand, and believe me, for somebody that does what I do, I'm the biggest skeptic out there.
I get it.
I need to see it. But when you see it 100,000 times over, okay, I got this. This shit's real, right?
I understand. Did I hear you say that you were a sun sign Scorpio on one of your live streams?
Yeah.
I thought so. My rising sign is in Scorpio. Super psychic.
Yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me that like even when you were a child, you were super psychic. Because a lot of times when I meet someone who's born under the sun sign of Scorpio, they've always been. It's just something that they've always been that,
And it could go either way. You could take that Dracula, route. You could take the dark road and be extremely powerful, or you could take the light road and be extremely powerful. So there's lower vibration Scorpios and there's higher vibration Scorpios, and you have to grow through that. You have to choose wisely what you do with your power. And when my other half is a Scorpio moon, and when a female has a Scorpio that's not in their chart, that's not the sun sign,
Okay.
it's an equal, in my experience, it's an equal psychic, an equal power as the male sun Scorpio, if I said that properly.
Yeah, I'm totally getting it, and that resonates with me too. Yeah, that's very cool. That's very cool. I'm fascinated by all of this. Wow. I have to share that this conversation is so activating for me. I'm like blown away. You've said several things that I'll just name a few. So when you mentioned like how Archangel, was it Michael, who appeared to you like 40 feet? I saw that. And I saw that, but I saw it in my backyard as a child. And I'm like, did I see that then? Or am I seeing what you're seeing? And then as you've been talking, when you were talking about like when you were on the ship and then you're saying to yourself, I'm going to remember this. Oh, I was a child. I have mentioned this on a live stream recently. I think my childhood's coming back to me a lot lately because I feel like that woman that I am today is the adult version of the child that I was, and all the stuff in between was just schooling, because I really wasn't who I am now, but it was. And in my childhood, oh my God, what was I just going to tell you? Yeah, I used to tell myself, I'm going to remember this. And I didn't, okay. I'm like, like a birthday would happen or an event or something. And I'm like, I'm going to remember this. I'm going to remember this. And it only occurred to me like recently, what was I trying to remember? Oh, wait, I was trying not to forget who I was. And I was sure that I wouldn't.
Right.
Sure that the veil wouldn't come over my eyes. I knew I could. And yet I forgot for a while.
Right. But that's, when you look back at that, and that's why the teaching is, by teaching or just speaking truth.
Mm-hmm.
Truth, light is information, light is truth. By speaking it, it can just trigger something in somebody, and their entire life is just changed because they got a confirmation or something happened inside that's it. That's all they needed to hear. And that it reminds me, and this took a lot of people by surprise, that I was so confident of what was going on with me that all I needed was somebody to look at me and go, well, I called myself a medium at the time because I thought I was just going to be working with spirits because that's what I saw, spirits. So, I just needed somebody to say, you're a medium. And then I said, okay, let me just double check. There's this spirit that's been following me around, and this is what's up. And then it was a whole ghost team actually clearing my house, and a paranormal team back in the day. And she explained the exact spirit. She took over my sentence. She explained the exact spirit to me. And it was like, boom, I got it. I'm a medium. And instantly the next day I put myself out there as a medium. And a lot of people are like, wow, he just realized he's a medium. Like he doesn't even know what he's doing. But I'm like, oh yeah, I do. I just needed somebody to confirm it. That's it. You know? So that's what's cool about, I just started doing Zoom, transmissions and teachings and stuff like that. And, I'm coming up with different modules and things like that. And then when I did the one last night, and I'm like, it doesn't matter, because no matter who's listening right now, no matter what I say, somebody's going to get something from it. Something's going to click with each and every one of them, that it doesn't matter what I talk about. You could sit there and write out this whole huge thing, but once you go live and you finish, you look and you're like, oh, wow, I didn't even look at all of that stuff that I did. So you learn, all right, well, you may want to write a couple notes, but you know how it is once you get going.
That's exactly what I'm going. The same thing is happening to me. I don't make notes. I told you, I told you before we started, I only have one question that I plan ahead of time, which is, how you got started. But, it's funny because that's the only thing that was kind of holding me back about calling myself a teacher or doing more of what really is teaching, is that I felt like I needed to be somewhere, find some end point before I could teach. Because if I have it, but now Spirit's playing, there is no end point. And like you said, accelerated awakening. Did you say accelerated awakening or ascension? Yeah. It is accelerated now. So no matter how much I would learn, there isn't going to be an end point. And so for anybody that wants to teach, exactly what you're saying, Paul, the time is now, and somebody is going to get it. Someone is going to appreciate it. I do feel that you want to be coming from your heart center, right? From the right. But do you feel what I'm saying? Is it resonating?
Yeah, well, that's perfectly said, because I've been saying that in the past few videos, that, and like you said, there's no end and there's no beginning, but we grew up in this linear box, right? We grew up in classrooms, which are boxes, and you go from one box to the next box. And after you jump in enough boxes, you get this, you graduate, and then you go to other boxes. So we're kind of programmed this way, but it's seamless. So the transition happens instantaneously. So that's kind of makes it hard to recognize. And, if you wait till you feel adequately ready, if you wait till you're like, okay, now I'm a teacher. Now I'm going to go teach. That time's never going to come.
Yes, you're right.
It's never going to come. Once you get the hang of that, and that it's about passion, right? Or whatever you want to call it. That's a weak word for whatever this thing is.
Right.
Drive, path, your truth. When this comes out, you just follow that. And when you can trust that, now you're getting somewhere. Now you're on the fast track, and everything's quantum. So it's as fast as you can think of it, right? So it's kind of like, I used to say this a lot, the only difference between me and Jesus is I still think it takes an hour to have a healing session with somebody, when Jesus will just go by and be like, oh, you healed, dude, and just keep walking. Right? So I follow that philosophy, if you will, every single day. Where is it that I can cut those corners off? Right? Where is it that I can, because it's only here. It's within you. It's your perception. The only difference between, I could have clients that I could have 10 healing sessions with, and they're out doing their spiritual work. They're professionals, but other people, it'll take 100 healing sessions, and then they're out, and then they're professionals or in their truth. What's the difference? Well, one of them said, oh, I'm all set. I'm healed. I'm done. It's behind me now. I can move forward. So every day you can practice that. Practice, where is it? Where can you knock down those third dimensional walls in your mind of what, you can or can't do, or how long is it going to take to get somewhere, right? Okay, I'll be a teacher. I'll look back linearly and say, okay, well, it took me this long to get here. So I'll use logic and say, well, it's probably going to take that amount of time to become the teacher. we get that kind of structure in our head, and it's like, well, no, well, you're a teacher right now. You've been teaching your whole life. So
Wow. Wow, this is such a great chat. Oh my God, I'm loving this. You guys are loving this or what? I had somebody saying, thank you for your loving video. I love it. Oh, I'm so glad. And Joe says, I've been working with Blue Aliens this year. Wow. Cool. Deirdre, she's a huge fan of yours. Deirdre saying the Vatican scene is all spaced out. I guess I'm looking at something from a long time ago, but
I got to check that out. But still, it's still, we're talking about it for a reason. So
let me see if I can pull it up. Okay, all right, let me just do this. I can do this because I'm amazing with technology. If I open that like this, then you could be able to see it. And let's see, if I do this, I should be able to screen share. Hopefully I do it perfectly right. Let's see, Vatican nativity scene. Yes, it says a sign of. Oh, I don't know who wrote that, but okay. And let's see if I can. Let me move myself.
See,
Anyway.
I got to learn how to do that. Look at you go. See
Can
that?
That's
awesome.
Are you kidding? I love this stuff. But can you see it? I'm not sure if I can make that bigger and me smaller. Not as well. That's the biggest, as big as I can get it right now. Let me see if I
could almost see it. Hold on.
I
can see it better now.
I don't even think that's the spaceman.
Oh, I can see that. The head looks like a friggin' spaceman, though. That's for sure.
Right. But there's more. I've got to show you. Hang on a second, because there's let me see where's the one. There's actually a guy with a helmet.
Hope during the pandemic. That's cool.
Right? Well, hang on. Wait, where'd the helmet the guy go? Guys, I'm not even kidding. This is the craziest thing. So there is, let me see if that helps. Is that oh, these websites have like 10 million ads popping up. That's what's happening.
Oh, yeah. Except the cookies and all that.
Right. Which I respect that. I have a website myself, which I don't have any ads on it yet, but I hope that I would never make it so obnoxious like this. Okay, sorry. Sorry, guys. I think it's great. All right, so I don't know. Can you see this? Am I showing it to you or not? No, you're still on that page.
Oh, I'm zooming in now for a second. It's almost like there are these cutouts almost. Like there was something in there, and now they're cut out, and they found what's inside it.
Huh. Let me see if you can see this one. Right there. Come on, screen share. Okay.
That's cool.
Hide that one and then bring up. Oh, there's all kinds of things. This is, I don't know why it's, okay, what if I take that one out? Move that one up. There. Can you see that? That's the spaceman guy with the.
Let me see. It's coming in right now. Let me check this out. Yeah, see? I mean, if that's not a spaceman, I don't know what is.
Right? Do you see the helmet and everything?
Yeah.
Incredible.
That's not a diver.
All right. That's quite
and when you're talking Vatican, you're talking like government of America, who, has been working with aliens from Area 51 and all that. It's like, it's kind of naive to think that it's not going on. You know what I mean? That's cool, though.
Isn't that cool? I just had to share that with you because I was excited to see how your response to it being where you have this opportunity to share that. I just think it's very, very cool. You want to know something interesting? And I still haven't figured, I don't know the whole, I haven't I guess it has to unfold. But about 6 years ago, a little over 6 years ago, I moved from South Florida to the town where NASA is with the rockets. I didn't know that was here when I moved here. I didn't know anybody here. I'd never been here. I was drawn to move here, and so here I moved. And I get to see rockets when they launch from like SpaceX out my window. And I really feel like moving into this is 2021. I feel like there's another reason why I moved here. I don't know. I don't know what the details.
That's pretty cool, though. You get to see the rockets taken off. I want to see that.
Very cool. I don't see the launch pad part, but
right.
They're pretty, when the nice tail, it's very cool.
Nice.
It's very cool. It's very cool. Very blessed that I live here like this. But I want to ask you about 2021 and how you see the future, the future of our planet, right? Our next now moment and the one after that and such.
Yeah. Well, I feel that it's a time more than ever that we have to live in our heart center. We have to stay centered with our higher selves, because I do feel that there's going to be a huge purging before the great celebration. So this means breakdowns of many systems. This means the realizations, the aha moments of, wow, this is going on. And it's been going on in clear sight, but nobody's seen it yet. As far as like, the healthcare system, as far as like, all the corrupt stuff, that goes on, government stuff, just all the things that cannot go with us into the fifth dimension way of life, right? So there's going to be unawakened people have free will and free choice. So there's going to be unawakened people that do not want to go into the light. So there's, I also feel, watching a lot of awesome astrologers too, that I love to do is, the planetary alignment is right where it's at, where Pearl Harbor happened, and with the stuff what's going on with Saturn and all that, it's kind of like it really pulls up military energy. And I've had a lot of visions too, to where the military is involved, or what military surfaces the same time extraterrestrials show themselves, type of thing. So I feel like it's gonna get messy, but I don't think it's going to be something that anybody has to be afraid of, as long as they're in the heart center, because it's understanding that what we've done over decades is we've held light, right? We've anchored light long enough for the reinforcements to come in. We've done that.
Right.
So now what happens is we're taken off the front line. And now we get to have the hot showers, we get to have the hot meals, and we get to live our truth, right? We get to live that path of bliss. We get to live that. We get to get all the goodies that we've always wanted to get, the rewards of it all. At the same time, this whole nuttiness with the world's going on, this whole rise in the next phase of this pandemic thing and everything going on. If you're not awake, you can think everything's going bad. Oh no, now everything's going wrong. But I'm always in this state of, no, everything's perfect all the time.
Yes.
And if this is happening, then this is what's meant to be happening. So there's never that drop, with me. It's always, everything's always exciting. So that's what I feel with 2021. I feel like there's nothing but excitement that's going to happen. And even though it could look fearful, it's nothing that I think people should really be afraid of if they're in their heart center.
That's the biggest thing.
I just got to plug my laptop in, but I can still hear you.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. It's about being in your heart center. That's how I'm feeling. And let me ask you, Paul, what do you feel is going to happen to people that aren't in their heart center, the people that you said choose not to go to the light?
I think they're going to go into fear mode, and that's where I think the world's going to get a little crazy. That's where I think the military, because if you think about it, when people aren't awake, they're in ego. Ego is control. Ego is fear-based. So when somebody is an ego feels threatened, what do? They pump up their ego. So it's going to be a battle of egos. So, and where you're backing a Scorpio up into a corner, or you're backing up a snake into the corner, that's what they're going to feel like. So there's going to be a lot of outbursts, because what happens is when these systems are going to stop breaking down, these people are in power, and these people are not going to want to lose their power. So they're not going to just bow out gently, right? So I see a lot of things like we're already seeing protests. You're seeing a lot of things like that. There's the violence with the protest, yes. The hurricanes, the earthquakes, and all this stuff that's going on is because, yes, the world is kind of like, is actually vibing off of us as a collective, but also the earth itself is has a higher self.
Oh,
The
yeah.
earth has a soul. The earth is just like us, and the earth is going through its own transition at the same time as us. So we're gonna, and of course, it's a lot of the light that's coming in, the solar flares and all that stuff, and astrologically, that's what's causing a lot of these, landslides and earthquakes and tsunamis and things like that too.
Right.
Another thing that was one of the very first things that I was clearly shown is while stuff is going on around the world, if you are in your heart center, basically, if you're an empath, you're a light worker, and you're awake, you have protection around you. Okay. So this doesn't mean be afraid because you're physically going to be attacked. No, it means we're already going through it.
Yes.
What we're already experienced the past few years is just going to continue on so it's kind of like, it's not anything that we haven't already gone through over and over and over again through decades and centuries. It just means it's going to play out. Okay, it's going to be physical, it's going to be third dimensional. But if you focus now, this is what's going to be a little bit sketchy here. The difficult is it's going to be a little bit challenging for people that are centered with higher self and light to be able to stay excited about their life, to be able to keep moving forward. No matter what's going on out there in the world, every day I'm like, I got a new video idea. And then I'll do that video, and I'll have another video idea off of that video, and then I'll and it's constantly leapfrogging off of that. So I'm just focusing on my world, right? You focus on your world. You focus on you living the life that you've always dreamed of. So that, for somebody at different stages of awakening, they might be like, yeah, but this is happening, so I'm going to turtle up and very easily fall into fear. So I think that's going to be the harder balance for some people, but that's what people like you, me, other teachers, way showers, whatever you want to call us, are. We're there to, and that's why you're going to a new level. That's why I'm going to a new level, because we're graduating. We're going to the next step, which means we're going to have bigger audiences.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Because these people are going to want answers. And then when they gather around you or me or, all the big teachers out there, they're going to go, oh, okay.
Yes.
That's all we needed to hear. We just needed to hear that everything's okay. We just needed to resonate with something. So, and that's what I think is what's going on here tonight with this video. Of course, everybody that's seeing this now and everybody that's will see this next week, 2 weeks, whatever, next month, are all the ones that are meant to see this. So I'm thanking everybody that's seeing this now and the future people that are seeing this for sharing this and commenting and telling us what you think about this and what how it resonates with you.
Absolutely. And I posted your link, the link to your web. Actually, I could screen share that too for a moment. Let me just close this one and open this one. Let's see. Yeah, I love your YouTube channel.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's see. Very inspiring for me, who also is a YouTuber. But that is Paul's YouTube channel. I have put the link in the comments, and I will also post it in the comments on the Facebook. For some reason, I'm not able to use, and it's okay, that life works that way. I'm not able to use the thing within the dashboard to share like I normally would, but that's all right because everything's fine. But anyway, that's Paul's channel. Definitely visit Paul there. Definitely like this video. Then give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel. Go to Paul's channel. Subscribe to his channel.
That's right.
Give it a thumbs up. And so I can't believe how quickly this hour's gone by. Like too fast.
I know.
So what I wanted to close with is if you can talk more about your healing and then also tell people where they can book services with you and what kind of services they can book. And I will look for your website because I know you've got one.
Yeah, well, my website's www.paulwyrostek.com. It's my name. That'll bring you to my website. And there is some changes that's going on with the website, but it'll give people the idea. I do less and less these days one-on-one phone sessions, whether it's messenger phone, regular phone worldwide. And that's for like deep one-on-one healings, but more often I'm doing 3-day remote healings to where people just send me a list of information of what they intend to release, what they're choosing to be healed. And over 3 days, I do meditations and communicate back through texting here and there. And we, work through that. So it's more of a 3-day remote healing. And a lot of, Facebook is really, and my YouTube channel, just type in my name for YouTube and Facebook, because that's really my biggest platforms. And if you follow me on Facebook, subscribe to me on my YouTube channel, you're not going to miss anything that I'm doing. So the website's a good place to go to, contact me. But really, if you follow me on Facebook and subscribe to my YouTube channel, I am constantly expanding and coming up with new ideas. As far as Zoom, I'm going live on YouTube next week. Next week, it's going to be, I can say this now because it just comes up. So I'm doing the 27th, okay? The 27th of December. It's a Sunday at 8 p.m. British time. That's 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'm going live on Facebook. I'm doing an hour-long question and answer. Okay, so it's basically, and it's going to be incorporating a free healing for everybody. So it's all free. So
let me type this in. So what is the date on this?
That's
December 27th.
December 27th.
3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yep.
And then, okay.
And that's YouTube.
On YouTube. And this is your Q&A?
Yeah. I used to do that a lot on Facebook, and but I like to incorporate that every once in a while to where it's like, you got me for an hour, go in the chat and just start throwing some questions at me, and then I incorporate a healing for everybody. I like to do a lot more free stuff whenever I can too. So give back.
I love that. Yeah, absolutely. I've been hosting weekly trance healing events on Wednesday with my friend and colleague Debbie Charlton.
Nice.
And that's going to be evolving too. And that's how I feel. Although my Sunday events, honestly, that's all about giving back. Because I'm excited about spirits. Inspired me to do this from 2 years ago, and every time and like you mentioned earlier, tunnel vision about like a sound or that's how I perceive my next guest. I always know. It's fascinating. It is such a pleasure to meet you, Paul. It really is.
Pleasure to meet you as well, Meagan.
You're amazing. Definitely. I hope to work with you again sometime, and I love you guys. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, everybody. It's a pleasure. Blessings, love, and healing to everybody. And maybe we'll do this another day. And it'll be great to just to see how we progress on this path, with everybody together, because we're all linking up. Really, we're all, we've all come from the same place, and we all made a plan to meet up with each other. And now we're meeting up with each other in the physical. So this is something to be excited about. Every day, look for what excites you. That is your path.
Absolutely. Well said. Thank you again.
All right. Thank you, Meagan. I appreciate it. Take care.
You too.
All right. Bye.